Back to the phones. You go to Paul. It's in Raleigh, North Carolina. It's great to have you, sir. Hello.
Hey, Rush. I loved your interview there with Chris Wallace, especially with the cigar in the backdrop. But my question is, when do you think we'll see the ratings from your appearance? I haven't watched Chris Wallace on the Fox News Sunday show in years.
I don't know. You know, it's something interesting happening with TV ratings. This is something I saw sometime over the weekend. Because there has been so much time shifting and there's so much viewing now via streaming and more people not actually watching television, which is how TV ratings are checked. 1,000, 1,200 people have black boxes on their TVs and they get metered, they get measured. Supposedly, Nielsen and others, well, not Nielsen, but some of the cable companies and others are backing out of this because they don't think the numbers are realistic anymore. And everybody's trying to come up with a new system designed to measure accurately viewing because they don't think they can do it in one night anymore. It used to be overnights the ratings consisted of two phases. You'd have the overnights, which would be the top 20 markets, and then they do the whole nation later that same day or the next day, and then they give you the report. And the overnights are under pressure now because there may not be enough data to accurately measure. But I don't think they're over yet. So there still are overnights. I just, on a Sunday day, I don't know when those overnights, I don't know if there are overnights, for example, today on a Sunday show. I've actually never been told. But you can count on the fact that they're going to be through the roof.
Well, in full disclosure, I DVR'd it and went 28 minutes into it to get to you.
Well, now, you got to be careful about that because they do, TiVo and DirecTV and others, they do report video time shift watching. And that's why numbers sometimes take some days to accumulate. So you would want, I know you're trying to get me the ratings credit by having your DVR start like minutes before I came on, and I appreciate that.
Yeah. Well, it was great to see you on TV. You look great.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. If you would have seen what's involved here to do, I mean, that was 11 minutes. Brian, what time do these people show up from Fox? Okay, so we're taping at 3:30, 3:25, 3. These guys show up at 1 o'clock. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, plus the husband and the makeup. There's 6 people here. They show up. It took them 2 hours to set up their lights and rearrange my studio. They cleaned everything. They rearranged it all. They broke my computer monitor. They set their lights up. They made it impossible for me to go over to the corner where I needed to get my cochlear implant. Had to take the lights down to get over there and get it. And then had to put the lights back up. Just amazing. And the makeup babe, that took 10 minutes. For 11 minutes of TV. Now, naturally, it's a remote. It wouldn't have taken that long if it was in one of their studios. But I don't know how they have the patience for it. I just don't know. But it was fun. I'll admit that once it got started and all that, I enjoyed it. I guess I ought not be surprised. I don't do television very often. It's really rare. And so when I do, we're overwhelmed with feedback on it. And I've been a regular TV appearance. Well, I had my own show for 4 years and all that. I probably am the most recognized person in America that's not in the visual media. Stop. Well, I mean, I'm not on it. Yeah, they put me on. That's right. I mean, I do not have a visual media presence myself. I'm a radio guy. But anyway, the feedback of this has been over the top. And it proves my point. You wouldn't. About 80% of the feedback I've got is how good I looked. The other 20% is about what I said and the people that missed what I said about Cruz. But I do want to take a moment to thank Chris Wallace and the entire Fox team that we work with putting every time I do this together. And Greta Van Susteren, they're all, I mean, they're just as fair and there's no deceit. whatsoever. They do not employ typical green room tricks. I mean, they don't give me a false list of topics that they're going to suggest. I mean, whatever they tell me they're going to talk about, that's what they ask me about. You'd be amazed at the number of TV shows. There's something called a pre-interview, and they don't even subject me to that. But most guests on most TV shows have to go through a pre-interview. And every guest, until they learn this, makes a huge mistake when they think the pre-interview is actually designed to ascertain what the guest wants to talk about. That's not the purpose of the pre-interview. They want the guest to think that. The purpose of the pre-interview is one of two things: either mislead the guest so the guest can end up being shocked and surprised and therefore be hit with subjects the guest has not had a chance to prepare for, because it's gotcha. Or the second reason is simply to have the guest look totally shocked, prepared, unprepared, or what have you, and to find out really what it is that irritates the guest. That's the second thing. The pre-interview, if the interviewer finds out something really, or that you really don't want to talk about, they'll go through a list of possible things they're going to discuss. And if the guest says, no, I don't want to talk about that, that's what they're going to talk to you about. But Fox doesn't do any of that. They don't pull any of that. Those tricks were famous on Crossfire. I can't tell you the first time I did Crossfire, the setups. And I called them on it, actually, during the show.